Is your hope that more people will start to question medicine, the healthcare system, and start to really empower themselves and say, hey, my health is my decision. It's on me. It's not up to these big pharmaceutical companies or doctors with different interests to, kind of look over and make the decisions for.
Yeah, I think and it's not adversarial, and it's not about I'm a doctor. I have so many friends who are doctors. I love doctors and I respect doctors, and I think that it's it's not about mistrusting people, it's about mistrusting systems and incentives that are driving a lot of our reality. And fundamentally it's about asking people to recognize their intellect and power and really just start asking questions. I think it's become almost like the most dangerous thing you can do in our culture, to just ask questions. Like you start asking basic questions and all of a sudden you're being silenced on social media
Yeah.
or canceled. And so, but kind of helping to show people like it's not scary and it's actually critical, kind of helping people engender that confidence. And but I think, you know, my hope is that fundamentally the energy behind all of this is not one of like, burn it down, but like more like it coming from love, like
Yeah.
fundamentally, like, we know that when we are in a state of love and more positive, like abundant type emotions, like everything feels better. We know that that's good for our health, but it's hard. It's our world is, because again of the incentives, like fear. We are wired to pay attention to fear. We are wired because it's for our safety. And so much of our culture has become so fear-based. So I'd say, as much as we can kind of disconnect from some of the sensationalism and actually just get back to that really abundant state of driving this journey through love. I mean, hopefully in a perfect world, like people would bring, in some ways, maybe bring their doctors along for that ride, like if they're coming at it in not an adversarial way, in a real sincere and earnest hope to make the most of this precious life, like I think the consciousness and energy around it can have a big impact on how this all plays out. So I think, you know, I really hope that collectively we can all just start to imagine what a brighter and different future could look like and get out of the fear trap that we're all in. I do believe in the power of our thought and our intention and our consciousness. And so what I hear so much in the world right now is just such deep pessimism and just so much like we're fucked, and it's just like it's so bad. And I think that that's a good start. Sometimes starting angry is a good place to start, but
Oh yeah.
fundamentally, like we need to get to a place of reimagining the future of humanity that is so much brighter. Because if we can't even imagine it, it's not going
Hmm.
to happen. And so, everyone listening, I hope that in a quiet moment today, in a meditation that you're doing, or as you're falling asleep, like let your brain go to a place of what humanity could look like in 50 years, where people are healthier and the children are healthier and relationships are healthier and the environment is better. And I think we have to let ourselves imagine that, or it's just not going to happen. Like, so, yeah. So, um, ask questions. If things are making no sense, like the fact that we're spending more money in healthcare and outcomes are getting worse, go down the journey of asking why. That's
Yeah.
very important. We all have the power to do that. And then I think coupling with that questioning and um, empowerment, also allowing yourself to believe that your own health can be incredible and the health of the world can be incredible, and build some of that positive collective consciousness that I think is going to be really critical for us actually turning the ship of, 8 billion people towards a better future.
Yeah, and those rabbit holes could be really fun to jump into, especially when you realize they're like, "Hey, I could do this. I could turn it around. Others have done this. This
Yeah.
isn't incurable. I don't have to live in misery."
No.
Those are fun ones to jump down. And I will say this because you wrote about this in the book, and I truly believe this, knowing, family members that are doctors. everyone gets into the profession with an
Yes.
honorable intention of helping. I think the system, as you said, is broken and gears them into cynicism and what can I do sort of approach. And you feel handcuffed almost. And then you say, these are my options. When you're just handed a hammer, everything's a nail to you. So you have to go about it that way, right? But I do believe, as much as doctors are a little bit bound, at least they feel in the conventional realm, it's up to the patients to say, I want something different. If that demand kicks in, doctors say, well, I got to. It's the whole
Yeah.
reason we know so many of these pharmaceuticals target the patients. They can't order the stuff themselves, but they can absolutely sway a doctor to say, hey, give me that drug. That's what I
Yeah.
want. All right, that's easy. I'll just write it. Hopefully it works for you, right? So I
Yeah.
do feel that the patient or the person going down this road, this journey of enlightenment, has a lot of power to actually change the whole healthcare system. Don't you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. I think coupled in this whole conversation is the entrenchment of the victim mindset, of the fact that we think that a lot of this stuff is happening to us and not really understanding the huge strong role that we actually have in creating this system. And I think it's it's so I'm looking at my bookshelf over here. There's just so many books that I feel like have helped me wake up to that. There's a book,
Yeah.
a really awesome sort of therapy type book called Maybe It's You. And it's
Mm.
like, it's not everyone else's problem. You know, it's
Yeah.
maybe it's actually you. Maybe you're the problem. It's like the Taylor Swift song, I'm the problem, it's me. But we have to take ownership for our role in creating the systems that then hurt us. And I see it on every level. You know, in healthcare, this is just the way it is. Whereas like we actually have to gain the strength and mental fortitude to be able to stand on our 2 feet and ask for what we need and want. This happens a lot, I think, also in sort of like the, being a young woman. Like we hear a lot about the patriarchy and all these
Hmm.
things that are happening to women. And something I frequently say is like, how are women propagating the system that they do? Like, where are the women actually saying like, I don't accept this, and I am
Right.
going to not participate in this and just create the world you want to see, instead of yelling at the system for somehow doing it to you. And so, I mean, of course there are terrible things that are happening, but we cannot ignore our role in creating the systems that then we complain about. And so, but that of course is a journey, because to have the confidence and the wherewithal to express your needs, set your boundaries, say what you are and are not willing to accept, and deal with the consequences, that's of course, that's a psychological journey that involves overcoming limiting beliefs,
Yep.
addressing childhood wounds that are creating patterns in your life, understanding how you're actually profiting and benefiting off the negative patterns in your life, all of these things. So that's the therapy, that's the counseling and the coaching and the psychedelic work and the dark night of the soul, to basically wake up eyes open to the ways that you are actually benefiting from the systems that you say you don't like. And I think for any of us and people who are listening who have been on that journey, that it is hard and it is worth
Hmm.
it. Um, because if you don't know where how you're playing into your own suffering, like you basically are in prison for your whole
Hmm.
life. And so I don't know if that resonates with you, but I think
Oh,
we the chapter 9 of the book is called Fearlessness, the highest level of good energy. And I give 15 strategies in the book, from, psychedelic medicine to therapy to just reading the great thinkers on these topics, the poets and the philosophers who have talked about this stuff. How do we take ownership for our full autonomy as humans in this lifetime and break out of systems of oppression that we may actually be engaging in, because there is actually some way in which it helps us live in a smaller and more limited way, and we're afraid to be bigger. But we have to understand our power and limitlessness. But that is a journey of work, and we should all go on that journey. So that's really
we
what that
should.
chapter is about. And it comes down right into the doctor's office. Like how this is a hard truth, but it's like, how do we actually benefit off of being chronically ill? Like, how does that let us be smaller and let us not have to show ourselves? And so that's a question we have to ask for ourselves,
Yeah.
like, and that's what that chapter is really about.
Yeah. No, I love that chapter. And I love that idea that real healing, it's difficult, it's hard, it's challenging, it's going to push you to your limits, but it's also transformative for your life. You're going to come out so much better in a sense on the other end. And it's going to lead you to a much more fulfilling life.
Yeah.
That's just going to, really, really allow you to see through what your purpose is on this world, I believe. So, it's something that's necessary for all of us to go through, and it's everyone has their own journey.